guys, it's Vicky, and today I'm here to talk about the books that got away. And by that I mean there were some books that back in 2021 I put on various TBRs that I just, for one reason or another, didn't get to, and I wish I had. So we're going to talk about those books today. So in 2021 I had this problem. Well, maybe it wasn't a problem. It was just sort of this thing I kept doing where I kept putting all these books on TBRs every month and not getting to them. And so when I went to compile my list for this video, I thought it was going to be super long because I knew that there were so many months throughout the year that I just overdid it with the TBR. But there were only 13 in the end that I put on TBRs for various reasons and then did not read. So of those 13, I picked 5 that were really, for me, really ones that I'm like, why didn't I read that? And hopefully we'll fit them in 2022. So, okay, let's dive in. The first book on my list is The Between by Tananarive Due, and this one was one I put on my TBR for Blackathon in February last year, and just I didn't get to it. But it is one of those novels that all year long I'm like, man, I wish I had read it. And it's about a guy who, when he was a kid, his grandmother saved him from drowning. She sacrificed herself to save him. And now he's in his 30s, I want to say, and is starting to feel like his time is coming, or like his time is up. It's almost like, I'm wondering if it's almost like a Final Destination type thing, like he escaped death and now it's coming for him and he kind of knows it. I don't know, but it kind of has that sort of vibe. And then kind of also that is going on, he's having these weird dreams where this thing is stalking him, but then also in kind of the real world, his wife is an attorney, I think, and is being harassed, and they're receiving a lot of threats and stuff. So he's dealing with that real life threat and also what's going on in his dreams and in his mind and all that. So it just sounds really cool. And I have been wanting to read more Tananarive Due because I loved The Good House. And so, yeah, I need to read it. The next book that I wish I had read in 2021 is The Girls Are Never Gone by Sarah Glenn Marsh. This is a horror novel about a young woman who is a podcast host. She runs a paranormal podcast where they talk about paranormal things, but she herself kind of on the side in her own mind is a skeptic of ghosts and all that stuff. But the podcast sort of keeps her in that realm, that sort of circle dealing with paranormal stuff. And she goes to this estate for the podcast to kind of do an episode where this 30 years in the past, a girl drowned on the property. And so she goes there to kind of investigate and research for the podcast, and weird stuff starts happening. And I like paranormal stories where the main character is a skeptic, because you always know that stuff's gonna happen to them because they're like, I don't believe. So I really like that element, and I also like the podcast element. I think that's kind of cool, kind of fun. So yeah, I wish I had read it. I think it would have been a great fall read. So hopefully I will be able to get to it in 2022. Okay, the next one on my list is probably the one that I regret not reading the most, but I feel like this is definitely gonna happen in 2022. Because I feel like I just have to read this book, and that is The Storyteller by Dave Grohl. This is Dave Grohl's memoir about growing up and becoming a musician and joining Nirvana and later the Foo Fighters, and just like his life and how music has always been a part of it. And I've heard this book is so good, and I want to read it so bad. Because even though I am a fan of Nirvana, I own a few albums. I don't actually own any Foo Fighters albums, but I mean, when I hear them on the radio, I'll keep it on, you know? But I love Dave Grohl just as a person. I love watching him in interviews and stuff. He just is so down to earth and just likable, and I really want to read his book. I think I'm gonna do the audiobook because he narrates it, so that's one that I am prioritizing because I'm really kicking myself for not reading it this year. Well, this past year, 2021. All right, so I have 2 more books on my list, and they're the only 2 that I actually own at this moment. And that might be why I kind of wish I had read them, because I owned them, so why not? The first one is a contemporary called The Pearl That Broke Its Shell by Nadia Hashimi. And this one I put on, I think it was the Fall Into Reading Challenge. I was hoping to read it, and I just didn't get to it. But it's about a young girl who lives in Afghanistan, and she is in a family where there are all girls. There are no sons. And so in her culture, there is this custom, I'm going to say it wrong, bashapash, where the oldest girl in a family, if it's a family of girls, can go about life as a boy until they are of marriageable age. So it kind of gives our main character, Rahima, it kind of gives her a taste of what it's like to be a male in her culture. And then there's also kind of another storyline, I think, that takes place in the past, where her grandmother was in a similar situation and did a similar thing. So it just sounds really interesting, and I've heard good things about it. This was actually recommended to me by a subscriber a while ago. And so, yeah, I just need to read this, and I own it, so I have no excuse. I need to just pick it up and read it. And then the other one is a nonfiction book that, again, I want to say my husband got this for me for Christmas like 3 years ago or so. And, yeah, I haven't read it yet. I don't know what's wrong with me, but it's Bad Blood: Secrets and Lies in a Silicon Valley Startup by John Carreyrou. I've heard amazing things about this. And this story has been more of like featured in the news recently. I'm trying not to read about it or anything because I want to read this first. But it is about Elizabeth Holmes, who was the CEO of Theranos, which was a company that claimed that they made this technology that with a very small amount of blood, they could tell a lot about your health and such. And so it was very innovative, and people were like, wow, because normally, you know, when you have to go and get blood drawn for something, they gotta take some. And so this whole idea of not having to give that much and all of that was really cool. But it turned out that it was all a lie. And so that whole thing just really interests me, and I want to get into it. I want to get into the nitty-gritty of it, and this book does that. It's another one that I think I might try to approach on audio because I just feel like it would be really good to listen to. So once again, 2022, it's going to be the year that I get this book read. So those are the books or some of the books that I wish I had read in 2021. Like I said, it was a list of 13. I narrowed it down. But yeah, I wish I had read these because they all have something great to offer. And yeah, maybe 2022 I'll make it happen. So let me know down below if there are any books that you had intended to read in 2021 but didn't quite get there. I would love to hear about that. And that's it. I hope you guys are having a wonderful week, and I will talk with you soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.